Assalamu alaikum students. How are you? I hope you all are fine. I'll teach you English of grade 3. Our today's lesson is The Three Little Goats, Part 1. Unit 2, Lesson 3 on page number 8 and 9. But today, I'm going to give you a brief summary of this lesson again. Just want to remind you about the story. And the story is, there were three little goats lived in the mountains. Lived in the mountains. Their names were Tiny Horns, Short Horns, and Long Horns. Okay, students, tell me, do you have a goat at your home? Yes or no? Goats are friendly with humans. But they heard a bad news. What bad news did they hear? Do you remember this story? What bad news did they hear? Yes, they heard that a big wolf lived in the mountains. Wolf is a wild animal. So, Tiny Horn, what she did? So, she built a straw house. Straw is basically a yellowish stalks from crops. It wasn't a strong house. One evening, the wolf saw Tiny Horns go inside the house for night. Look at the picture in the 5th slide. He went up and blew the house away, and the house fell down. Tiny Horns went to find Short Horns. So together they built a wooden house, a house that is made of a wood. Students, you can see a picture of a wooden house in slide number 5. Would it be a strong house? So, again one evening, the wolf saw both of them go inside the house for night. So the wolf went up and every time he just blew, the house shook and the goats woke up. The little goats woke up because the house was shaking. And again the house fell down and they escaped. Then both of them, Tiny Horn, Short Horns, they went to find another friend, Longhorn. Now these three of them together they built a strong house of bricks. Students, in slide 5 you can see the house made of bricks with chimney. Now this house is strong enough to keep out the rain, snow and the wind. Students, do you notice one thing? Wolf was like always there in the evening time. One evening, Wolf saw all of them go inside the brick house for night. So the wolf went up again and blew the house. Now this brick house was strongly built. It didn't fall. It didn't fall down. At the end, he was tired and he thought of another plan. Like one day he'll get onto the roof and he'll climb down the chimney. That was the story. Wolf always wanted to eat these three little goats. They were so lucky. He couldn't. Okay students, it's time to see question answer of this story. And question number 1 is, where did the three little goats live? The three little goats lived in the mountains. Where did they live? The three little goats lived in the mountains. See question number 2. Question number 2 is, what bad news did they hear? What bad news did they hear? Answer is they heard that a big wolf lived in the mountains. Again, question number 2. What bad news did they hear? What is the answer? They heard that a big wolf lived in the mountains. Good. Move on. We have a question number 3, and question number 3 is, when did tiny horns go inside the straw house? When did tiny horns go? At night or in evening? When? Yes, in the evening. When did tiny horns go inside the straw house? In the evening. Question number 4 is, why did tiny horns wake up in the night? Why did tiny horns wake up? Because the house was shaking. That's why tiny horns wake up. Why did tiny horns wake up in the night? Because the house was shaking. Alright. Now we have question number 5. See question number 5. Which house was still standing at the end of part 1 of the story? Which house was still standing? Was it a brick house or wooden house? Choose between these two. Which one is correct? Yes, the brick house was still standing at the end of part 1 of the story. Which house was still standing at the end of part 1 of the story? Answer is the brick house was still standing at the end of part 1 of the story. I hope you have understood this story. Learn all these 5 question answers and also write them in your English notebook as well. Okay? Best wishes to you and Allah Hafiz.